welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over Equinoxe television, and we're coming to you from our headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Babla Jonathan, and our lone top story tonight concerns raising all across the nation been raised across the nation over the violation of human rights in the country after a young man was tortured to death in a palace in the west region of the country. We'll bring it to you updates on that in this edition of the news, and we'll be talking about the issue of mob justice in Cameroon, a growing phenomenon that, according to some analysts, reveals the level of distrust Cameroonians have for their services, security services, administrative services, and judicial services in the country. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. The family of Steve Defoe has lodged a formal complaint against the traditional ruler of Balum in the west region of the country following the brutal mob killing of Defoe and another suspect, Kamta Bosting, over allegations of theft that had not been proven. A video circulating widely on social media showing Steve Defoe pleading for help and proclaiming his innocence has sparked a nationwide outrage. Malaglory has more.
Two men identified as Kamta Boste and Defoe Steve Ashil were burned alive in Balum, located in Mainor Division of the West region. The young men were accused of stealing metal roofing sheets. Caught by local residents, sources revealed that they were subsequently brought before the village chief for judgment. In a video circulating widely on social media, one of the suspects, Steve Defoe, is seen crying, pleading and claiming his innocence when asked if he committed the crime. However, according to reports, Steve was condemned without clear proof of guilt. Hours later, he was set on fire and burnt to death. Following his tragic death, new reports have emerged claiming that Steve was not responsible for the theft he was accused of committing. Seeking clarity, our news team visited the Balum Palace. Although the traditional ruler was away, local women recounted the event for us.
On l'a amené le bandit à la chefferie quand on l'avait bien tabassé.
Ici à la
chefferie. Sa porte trouver les gens, la foule, dans la cour de la chefferie. On lui a dit que c'est le bandit qu'on a pris au niveau de l'école catholique d'Ondouké. Ils étaient en train d'arracher les tôles. Le CB, au moment d'arriver aussi, il a dit au petit là, il a demandé qu'on l'amène à la brigade. Entre-temps, il a appelé le CB. Le CB, avant d'arriver aussi, il trouve qu'on avait déjà tué.
As a result of this painful incident, the Defoe family has filed a formal complaint against the paramount leader of Balum over allegations linked to the shocking death of their son. The incident has provoked widespread public outrage, with citizens strongly condemning the acts of mob justice and demanding that authorities shed light on the case.
Quand j'ai vu quelqu'un qu'on a tué jusqu'à brûler, mettre le feu et...
Notably, Barrister Sikati expressed deep shock on his Facebook handle, questioning how a traditional ruler could participate in such a barbaric act. He further urged for a rigorous investigation to uncover the truth. The public are uniting with the grieving family to demand justice while official investigations continue.
And security forces in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon have launched a search operation for a traditional leader, of course, the leader of Balum, in connection with the killing of 2 individuals accused of theft. A gendarmerie notice issued by the West Legion identifies the suspect as Numisi Pokam Shali Constant, the chief of Balum in the Menua division, and authorities say he is being sought following a June 5, 2026 incident in which 2 men were allegedly murdered within his jurisdiction. The search order follows a warrant issued by the military prosecutor attached to the Judicial Police Directorate. Security units across the region have been instructed to locate and apprehend the suspect and transfer him to the West Legion headquarters. The investigation goes on, and now the search is on, and it is expected, as calls are rising from across the nation, for the suspect to be punished. It is expected that he will be brought to book and, if found guilty, punished according to the law. Now on to something else. Days after his passing, the people of Tokombere are paying tribute to the deceased Cavay, former House Speaker, and through traditional songs, drum performances, and solemn ceremonies, the mother community is honoring the legacy of its chief while awaiting official information that is yet to come. Details with Cedric Chakutio. We'll be coming back to the report by Cedric Chakutio. Now, for thousands of workers of the Cameroon Development Corporation, CDC, in the southwest region of the country, patience appears to have run out for the thousands of workers after 3 years without salaries. Employees in the Tico have taken to the streets to demand the payment of outstanding wages and improved working conditions. The demonstrators are also calling on the government to intervene and address what they describe as worsening social and economic crisis. Smartjik and Gabriel tells us more.
Hundreds of CDC workers marched through Tico holding placards with a simple message: 36 months, no salary. Others read, "We can't pay rent, we can't pay school fees." I work at the medical department and we have not been paid for 36 months. It pains us a lot because some of us don't have houses to stay inside since we are placed on 25%. Landlords are humiliating us on a daily basis as we are being driven from houses. My living condition is very poor, but the management doesn't want to see into our problems. People now call us thieves because we go to work and we are not paid. We like what we do. That is why we are still there. The workers broke down the arrears. 7 months unpaid in 2023. 12 months in 2024, 8 months in 2025, and 4 months so far in 2026. We are not happy because for 36 months, no salaries. The management is yet to come out to address the situation by talking to the workers, but they keep mounting pressure on workers. The management doesn't have a problem because they control all contracts and they pay contractors all of the time. The general workers are those suffering. General labor them, they suffer. They don't even get means to go work. Before the last presidential election, government released a subvention to cover part of the debt. Workers say that payment helped temporarily, but since then, conditions have worsened. Many say they now struggle to feed their families. Thank the government for the subvention they gave last time, but we are telling the government that we are suffering since they came. The last time we have not seen a dime again. Off camera, CDC management told our team that salary payments have resumed and that workers in the technical sector in Tiko should be patient as their turn is next. CDC, one of Cameroon's oldest agro-industrial companies, has seen production drop sharply since the start of the Anglophone crisis. Workers have also been caught in the conflict, with operations frequently disrupted. For now, the workers say they won't return to work until all 36 months are paid.
From the southwest region of the country, let's go up north now, where days after the passing of the traditional leader of Tokombere, former House Speaker Cavay, the people of Tokombere are paying tribute to the deceased traditional authorities through traditional songs, drum performances, and solemn ceremonies. The Mada community is honoring the legacy of its chief while awaiting official decisions on his succession and the future leadership of the community. Cedric Chakucho now finds in details in this report.
40 days after the death of Cavay Gabriel, former president of the National Assembly, sons and daughters of the Mada ethnic group in the Tokombere subdivision, Mayo Sava division, came together in Tokombere to mourn the man who was their chief, their guide, and one of the community's most illustrious sons. Representatives of the 12 Mada clans traveled from the mountains to express their grief through traditional flutes, drums, and other cultural rites marked by solemnity and deep emotion.
Après tout ce qui s'est passé, les obsèques et les obsèques officielles, le peuple m'a dit.
After the official funeral, the people of Mada decided that it was a must to celebrate their leader who had long reigned over their ethnic group. It is in this context that we are mobilized here today, so that no one forgets him, and also we call for a new leader.
Pour célébrer son chef, qui clôt l'espace qu'on appelle le deuil officiel chez le clan Mada.
Choosing to turn their pain into a moment of cultural communion and solidarity, the inhabitants took part in exceptional tribute to the man who was both a traditional ruler, a national political figure, and a symbol of cohesion for his people.
Ça ne vient pas de nous, c'est le souci. Et puis nous élites.
The Mada ethnic group has always shared a special bond with the traditional chief, a bond strengthened by the national status of Cavay Gabriel, chief of the Mada canton and speaker of the Cameroon's National Assembly for more than 3 decades. However, a question remains: who will be the successor of Cavay Gabriel, chief of the Mada village? Cavay Gabriel died on May 6, 2026 at the age of 86, leaving behind a considerable political, cultural and social legacy that continues to inspire the mountain people of Tokombere.
Traditional rites, songs, dancing to celebrate the traditional leader of the Mada clan, former House Speaker. Now from South Africa's enduring struggle against apartheid to Nigeria's latest aviation corruption scandal, key developments continue to influence the continent's political and economic trajectory. In South Africa, a generation born after apartheid now faces the challenge of widespread unemployment, while in Nigeria, former government officials are being prosecuted for allegedly misusing public funds to stage a fraudulent national airline launch. Law Maniero reports.
In Nigeria, the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, along with his daughter, son-in-law and family company, is being persecuted for fraud, corruption and abusing his office involving 1.5 million euro for the public funds. During a court hearing, an anti-corruption official detailed Siriki's role in the ridiculous launch of Nigerian Air 3 years ago. Just 3 days before the end of Muhammadu Buhari's presidency in 2023, a plane painted in the color of his fake national carrier landed in Abuja for a grand inauguration. However, an independent journalist quickly revealed that it was actually a regular Ethiopian airline plane temporarily repainted for the event. Government officials later admitted to Parliament that the airline did not even have a flying certificate, and the chartered aircraft was only authorized to stay in Nigeria for 48 hours. In the other part of the continent, on June 16, 1976, the Soweto riots broke out. This was a massive uprising of black African students against the forced use of African in school. The apartheid regime voluntarily crushed the revolt, which became a major symbol of struggle against racial segregation in South Africa. If this uprising changed the course of history, it was partly thanks to one photo, that of Hector Peterson's lifeless body, which moved the entire world and pushed many countries to distance themselves from the apartheid regime. 50 years later, what remains of this tragedy and the spirit of 1976 among the youths of Soweto? While the political context of 1976 has changed significantly, today's youth of 2026 face major economic problems. Since 1976, apartheid has been recognized as a crime against humanity and was abolished in 1991. Nelson Mandela, a leading figure in the struggle, became South Africa's first black president in 1994 after 27 years behind the bars.
Now in sports, controversy in the stands, unexpected dressing room visits, history-making performances. Those are some of the highlights that characterize the four of the ongoing 2026 World Cup. And of course, as the tournament gathers momentum, fans around the globe are witnessing memorable moments both on and off the field. Here's a roundup of the day's biggest talking points with our sportsman, Smanjikan Gabriel.
At Los Angeles Stadium, hundreds of Iran supporters arrived waving the historic lion and sun flag, a symbol many see as Iranian heritage, but FIFA enforced its ban on political symbols, telling fans the flag couldn't be displayed inside the venue. Hours later, FIFA President Gianni Infantino made an unannounced stop in Iran's dressing room. He congratulated the team after their 2-2 draw with New Zealand, which was Iran's first point of the tournament. Uruguay's World Cup started with trouble off the pitch. The squad landed in Miami less than 24 hours before their opener against Saudi Arabia. Their charter was initially blocked over permit issues, and once cleared, players and luggage were searched by U.S. security with sniper dogs. A rough welcome for the two-time champions. In New Jersey, Senegal coach Pab Thiaw went viral for one answer asked why his team ignored warnings about dangerous winds and went out for Juma prayer. He said, "Is there anything more important than prayer? You fear the wind while we fear Allah, the one who created the wind. Even if the World Cup final were today, we would still go out to pray." Goalkeepers are rewriting history in the FIFA World Cup. Saudi Arabia's 34-year-old Mohamed Al-Ouas made 9 saves against Uruguay, the most by any keeper so far. Then 40-year-old Vozinha of Cabo Verde matched the drama, making 7 saves to shut out European champion Spain. Speaking of Cabo Verde, they set a World Cup record for discipline. Despite Spain holding 74% possession, Cabo Verde committed just 1 foul all game, the fewest fouls ever recorded in a World Cup match. From banned flags to record saves, the 2026 World Cup is proving the story isn't just on the scoreboard.
Smanjikan Gabriel ending the first part of this news edition. Coming up next, talking point. Thank you for joining us in Talking Point today. Barrister Achu Julius is our guest. Barrister, welcome to the program. We're talking about the violation of human rights in Cameroon, notably through what is known as jungle justice, or better still, mob justice, with the case recently recorded in a palace in the west region of the country, where 2 young men were tortured to death, reportedly under the supervision of the traditional leader of that community, the Balum community in the Nous division. Barrister, let's begin by what the law says about jungle justice in Cameroon.
First and foremost, no human being has a right to judge or to determine what will happen to an accused person, except a judge truly constituted or God in heaven. You know, nobody has a right to take the law in his own hands and use it the way he wants for any obvious reasons. On the contrary, the law provides that anybody in a situation of difficulty ought to be helped by anybody around. So it becomes an omission if you fail to help somebody in agony or in difficulty. See, mob justice as such is not described in our code, in our penal code. But it goes without saying that if you participate in meting out mob justice, you individually, personally responsible for the consequences. And that's when the law will be called up for you to respond to your act. I saw recently something about a human being being burnt. I think in Balum, a certain village in the West Region. And it is alleged that he was tried by a group of persons in a chiefdom, in a chief palace, and thereafter sentenced to death by burning, or was killed as a consequence of the meeting. As it was alleged that he must have stolen some bundles of zinc, I don't know from where. When I saw that act, which was as a result of mob justice, I think it is very cruel. It's very disheartening. It is very sad that another human being will be that bold to burn alive another one. No matter the reasons, the human being shouldn't do such a thing. I can't accept that such a thing will happen to another person around me.
No, jungle justice creates the enabling environment for the violation of the laws of the land. What are the crimes that are committed in the course of jungle justice?
You see, when you start qualifying offenses in such a manner, it will be misleading. Because criminal offense is personal, it's individualistic, it is never general. So whoever participates in any mob action is going to be judged according to the actions which are alleged to have been his. It is not only the consequence which is important, it is the act or the intention to commit the act that they look for in the first place. You should understand that it can be grievous harm, it can be assassination, it can be murder, it can be dangerous activity. So, but it depends on the circumstances of each case to have that qualification. So I always have this reserve, wanting to qualify an offense when I don't have the facts when I'm not in front of tangible evidence to ascertain the reasons why somebody should be convicted or not. In as much as somebody has died, there ought to be a proper investigation and the culprits be brought to book according to the law.
What are the sanctions to which people who get themselves involved in jungle justice are exposed to? What are the sanctions? We know that in the execution of jungle justice, there are people who are involved directly. There are others who are just onlookers. And in Cameroon, onlookers are not spared because not helping somebody in danger is an offense, a criminal offense that is punishable by law in Cameroon. So tell us, what are the sanctions?
Yes, the principle is that, first and foremost, who are you to determine the fate of even an accused? Who are you? You first of all don't have that right to determine the fate or an offense that an accused must have committed without due process of law. When we talk about innocence of the person who has been affected, it is because we see the consequences of the act. For example, that guy was burned and he died. The consequence of that, he died. So now, how do we qualify? What offense can we use to qualify what happened before his death? I won't even think about presumption of innocence, because presumption of innocence is when you are before the law. And those to be judged for the mob justice, they are the ones who benefit first of all from the presumption of innocence, not the person who has died, because the person who has died was not being tried by any constituted court. He died because a group of persons decided that he should die, legally or illegally, or collectively or individually. But we can't talk about innocence when it comes to mob justice, because as to me, a mob is an unruly horse that at times we can take it to the stream, but we cannot force it to drink the water from the stream.
Thank you, Barrister, for joining us today. And that's it for today's edition of The News. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye. God bless Cameroon.